Hello. Thank you for being here. Merry Christmas to everybody. Let me get a 5x5 if we sound okay. If not, I'll have to add a mic. Can you hear me? Let's see. Uh-oh. Let's try this. How about now? How are we sounding? Okay. I got a 5x5 from the Prepping Artist. How many people we got in here? We got 12 people in here. Dome Seeker, the Prepping Artist, Wisconsin Farm Boy, Prepper Cowboy. Hey, how y'all doing? Yep, Uncle Rob. Just wanted to get on here real quick and say Merry Christmas to everybody. And I figure there's probably somebody out there that really doesn't have anything to do on Christmas. So wanted to make sure you're not alone. Chewbacca, good morning. And yeah, that was a heck of a picture you sent me today. TMI, just so we're aware. Frank Short, how you doing? Yeah, funny. Ha ha ha. First, let's say real quick. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lovaz. Hey, Bill. Merry Christmas. Hope all is well your way. Haven't seen you or talked to you in a long time. Real quick, of course, as you know, this is art. This is a form of entertainment. This is a work of fiction. Do not condone violence or any illegal activities. So there's that. All is okay. I love seeing your pictures on Facebook when you're always tracking down bears and other wildlife. It's pretty cool. AR American, Merry Christmas, brother. Do you have a new channel up and going? If so, go ahead and drop it in there so we can let everybody else know. I know your channels have been nuked a time or two. Know the feeling. Pilgrim Prepper, Merry Christmas. Janie Hurd, Merry Christmas. And it's growing. First, let me have a real quick a moment of silence for Master at Arms Joshua Seats, who was killed in the line of duty on Christmas Day 2008 under my command. All right, so let's give a moment for his family and for his sacrifice. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Person, thank you, Mr. Lovaz. I always try to remember that young man. It was the last one I lost before I got out. You're American. No new channel yet? All right. Let's talk about one of the things I want to talk about today is the best prep. Thank you, Prepper Cowboy. Prayers to his family. One of the most important prep. The most important preparation that you can do. And, you know, a lot of people will argue about what is the best prep, what's the most important thing. And if you look at everything in the prepping world, in preparedness, the most, as a whole, you can whittle it down to one key thing. And that is being able to adapt. Adaptability, flexibility, all the same thing. Adaptability, being able to adapt. If you look at Darwinism, it's not the strongest who survives, it's the most capable of adapting to change. Adaptation, that is the number one prep. And some people will say, well, how you can't prep that. No, you can't buy that per se. I did not wake up a couple years ago and it was like all of a sudden I just, had all the knowledge to be able to do the things that I do. People who are advanced preppers or survivalists, they weren't born with that ability. A long time ago, I started getting, decades ago, I started getting interested in preparation and survival. Then I studied that before I even joined the military. Then I joined the military And it just progressed and progressed and progressed. It's a set of skills. It's a way of thinking. You can train yourself to become adaptable to almost any situation, any scenario. All right. But it doesn't just readily come available to everyone. There are people that on the fly can adapt to a changing situation. But let's think of an old TV. Let's date ourselves. MacGyver wasn't just, even though a fictitious character, there are people out there like MacGyver. They're not just born that way. It's a thought process. It's a set of skills. It's learning. All right. It's starting to be able to anticipate what's going to happen and think of other things that you can do to counter that. If you look at the military, the Army specifically, PACE plan, primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency, that is a document built around adaptability. Let's see real quick here. There's a link in a pissed off American videos on the channel to my political channel. Let me show that real quick. So even the military knows that you have to be adaptable. Adapt and overcome. That is the primary essence of survival, whether it be in a SHTF scenario or whether it be in day-to-day life. What are you going to do if you lose your job tomorrow? It could happen. You could come in and find out that your companies have been bought by some other company and they no longer require your services. What if tomorrow your car breaks down? In day-to-day life, adaptability is critical to continuation, to be able to continue mission and proceed through your future. You need to be as adaptable as possible. Let's look at first aid. First aid, ideally, you would have a tourniquet if you had to stop major bleeding, major blood loss. What are other ways that you can look around your immediate area? Other things you could utilize. This is just one example of adaptability. A belt, shoelaces, preferably not your own, but the victim's if you needed to apply a tourniquet to somebody else. Whatever it may be, think of these things ahead of time. Run through the scenarios and practice. All right? Try to be adaptable. Think about, well, if next week I lose my job, regardless of why, what would my next step be? Where would I most likely want to go work? Have these things planned out. All right. It's just good process. All right. Network now. I like working here, but I would like working there as well. And if I want to work there, I need to know people there that will help ease my transition into there and get me chosen above other people. Adaptability. If it's 6 degrees outside, what are you going to do if your home loses power? If you're in an area where you can't run generators, don't have access to a generator, what is your next plan, your primary plan, your alternate plan, your contingency, and your emergency plan, your backups for backups? How are you going to adapt to the current situation? A lot of talk on all the prepping channels lately have been, the end of the world, World War III, all this every day, tomorrow the world's going to end. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not. Even if nukes rain from the heavens, tomorrow is probably going to be here. It's going to come. All right. Even if nukes fall, up until, there's, 4 horsemen riding and a beast that rises from the sea. Up until that point, I will continue to focus on the fact that tomorrow is most likely going to come. All right. And so to prepare for that, I need to make sure I'm adaptable today to the changes that may come tomorrow. All right. What would you do if nukes dropped from the sky? Well, I would just die. No, you probably wouldn't. Most people aren't going to die from a nuclear Armageddon. Most people, think of how many people are on the planet. There are billions. Most are not going to die, at least right away. And then, but eventually, as I've always said, everybody dies. You don't get out of life alive, but you need to adapt to those changing environments. All right. You need to adapt if there's a loss of societal norms, whereas societal collapses and small fiefdoms rise from the ashes. All right. It will happen. It happens in other countries all the time. Look at what's been going on down in Peru this week. People stranded because all of a sudden the government went crazy. All right. Presidents got arrested. Other factions are fighting. All hell broke loose in Peru this week. So the people on the ground, if you're in Peru, you need to learn to be able to adapt to that changing environment. All right. Where's your next meal coming from? Where's your next 10 meals coming from? Where's your family's meals coming from? Let me look in the chat real quick here. Hurricane goes through, looters out next day. Exactly. There will be people that are like, well, hey, let's go out and take advantage of this. All right. Your goal, unless you're the looter, is to prevent your area from being looted. All right. It's cat and mouse. And, when it comes to, for example, Warlord TV, warlords are around the planet. There are warlords everywhere. There are, look at Mexico, cartels. Cartel leaders, for lack of a better term, are warlords in essence. I was watching PJ, Pastor Joe Fox's video the other day. Yesterday. I don't know when he put it out, though. I believe it was yesterday. And he was talking about a friend of a friend was called in to advise high net worth individuals on surviving after a collapse. And the guy had some security team that he had hired and how to keep them loyal. Right. What didn't go into great topic into that discussion or deep discussion on that topic was that no matter where you're at, if you're in Mexico, if you're on the streets of Detroit, Chicago, you're in Afghanistan, if you're in Peshawar, Pakistan, wherever around the world where there are warlords or pseudo warlords, there's not like 50 guys that just run everything. There's not hundreds of guys. There's normally one guy who happens to have 2 or 3 people that either he grew up with, was raised with, was in prolonged combat situations with for years. And they stick by that one guy who has the vision of where he wants something to go. And then those people have a few people who have a few more people who have a few more people. And that's how the people at the top, the warlords, maintain control. They don't have to control everybody. They have to control the few that are around them. And it just trickles down. It just trickles down. If you look at back in my day, the Arellano Felix cartel, there were like 2 brothers that ran all of northwestern Mexico, Tijuana area, all that. 2 brothers ran the largest cartel in that region. They had people who they grew up with and trusted, and it went down and down and down. And they ruled with extreme fear and money. And that was it. And in that scenario where somebody had hired private contractors to secure their location, the guy was asking, how do I make sure that they don't turn on me? Well, the thing is, you have to make them love you, at least a couple at the top, love you and fear you. Fear your absence, your loss. All right. Not so much be afraid of you, but love you and fear your absence, your loss. If he goes away, then this shit is all going away for us. So they will want to keep you in power, and they will keep the people below them in check. Oh, yeah, no problem, AR American. I didn't actually see the link, Let me see if I can see it. If it got, make sure it didn't get blocked or anything. But I'll go back through and look so that way I can look you back up. Yeah, I'll go through it later on. But yeah, that's just what I really wanted to talk about real quick, was being adaptable. And, like I said, got to go Negan style. Yes, backcountry preps. Negan, everyone looks at that show, The Walking Dead, and thinks of Negan as, oh, he was a horrible guy. Well, I mean, not to most of his people. Not to most of his people. To most of his people, I mean, yeah, the dude that he burned this guy's face and took his wife. Yeah, that'd be someone that you would just want to ixnay right off the bat, because they're going to come back and get you someday. But most of Negan's people in that show didn't really have a problem with how Negan was running the show, because he kept them fed and kept them safe. All right. The prepping artist says, my husband is making me a Lucille bet. Yeah, and I mean, it's a pretty good melee weapon. And like I said, at the end of the day, if you look right now in our society, you have, like, in a small town, you have a mayor and a chief of police, and they pretty much run everything, right? Because they provide service, they keep things going, keep things as normal as possible. As long as you have the vision and a couple people that'll stand by you, other people will see that and be like, yeah, okay, whatever he says goes. And, but again, that person is always adaptable. All right. They've mastered adaptability, being flexible, being able to find. I used to tell my guys in the military, don't give me excuses, give me solutions. I mean, I still want to know the reason why something goes wrong or went wrong or didn't work. But don't just come at me with, well, it didn't because. All right. Yeah, it's good to know. It's good to know why something didn't work. But what are you going to do next? What is your next step? How do we fix it? How do we get back on track? That's what you got to do. You got to be adaptable. We're going to keep this short today because it is Christmas. So I just wanted you to think about that. The most important thing to do prepping wise is to make yourself able to adapt to virtually any scenario. All right. If Red Dawn happens tomorrow, do you have a way to be adaptable enough to blend in, to circumvent any roadblocks, stops, to allow you to travel where you need to go? If you're not, start working on that plan now. If tomorrow they instituted a nationwide lockdown like they did in China, where everybody had to stay indoors, how are you going to negate that? How are you going to overcome that scenario? Figure it out now. Make yourself adaptable. Dome Seeker, Merry Christmas, Uncle Robbie, and all the baby sharks. Yes, yeah, they had fun. They opened their presents. I took them to Mom's. They'll be back this afternoon. Hope all is well. And Dome Seeker, there's something fundamentally wrong with your husband, and coming from me, that says a lot. But still love you guys. All right. Well, keep this short. I'm out. Merry Christmas and God bless. Bill Lovas, Bill down there, Bill in the chat. He's known me for a very long time, and Bill knows that if I say you have a problem, I'm up here, you got a problem, because hot pot, I'm kettle. Beaverines, that's right. The prepping artist Beaverines. All right. Have a good day. God bless. To my baby shark today, loves you, and I'll see you here in a little bit. I'm out.